You can't cut your way out of this recession. You have to build jobs, you have to retain jobs.
But while we sort all that out, we have to fund the country. And
we have the money
in the
to fund
absence
the
of
country.
those IMF funds, how do we do that?
Well, we have the money to fund the country. We have in the National Pension Reserve Fund 15 billion, and we have in the Exchequer funds another 15 billion. Now, in March of this year, just in 4 weeks' time, these other parties are going to gift these bad banks with 30.6 billion of your money. Now, why should good money be thrown after bad money?
But you agree that, I mean, maybe up to 10 billion would have to go into AIB and Bank of Ireland to recapitalise them and secure their future.
Well, what we want to do is this. We want to clean up the banks. We need a banking system, but we don't need the Anglo-Irish Bank and we don't need the other Irish nationwide. We do want to amalgamate the Bank of Ireland and the AIB, and it can then go back cleaned up, depositors guaranteed. It can then go back onto the bond markets.
So when you do all that and you use some of the funds you've mentioned in the Pension Reserve Fund and cash that's available in the Exchequer to do that, how much is left and when does that run out? When do we have to go back to the markets again?
Well, you see, the key thing about all of this is that politics, like life, is a matter of choices. So these other parties support the universal social charge. We don't.
Okay,
we would bring it. Sorry, no. Let me finish this point.
But
we would bring in a new tax.
When does the money run out?
The money doesn't run out, Brian. There's 150 billion of European money in our bank system at the moment. All this scare just reminds me of the Lisbon Treaty stuff. We hear the other parties saying, the parties who created the problem, you know, we won't get money out of ATM machines. What are they going to do?
Well,
are they going to come and take the money off us?
In terms of paying pensions, social welfare payments, public servants, how do we fund that? At what point do we have to go back to the markets and try to raise the money?
We go back to the markets no later than the end of this year, having cleaned up the banks, but also having put people back into work and having honoured our sovereign debt.
So by the end of this year, you think we can borrow at a reasonable rate on international bond markets?
You see, when we get rid of the private banking debt, we're better off than most other European states.
Mr. Adams, if we went into the markets today, what would it cost us to borrow money?
Oh, it would cost us a huge amount. You know why?
How much?
Because we're a bad risk. It must be around 9 or 10%
And
now.
you think in the period between now and the end of the year it would come down
because you have to ask, why is it such a high interest rate? Such a high interest rate because we're such a bad risk. These guys know that they can't put money. They don't want to put their money into bad banks, but they expect you and every other taxpayer in this state to put our money into these bad banks.
Just a final question. Helen McKendry, Jean McConville's daughter, has issued a statement this evening. She's urging voters to ask your canvassers on the doorstep about whether you were involved in the murder of her mother, Jean McConville, and whether you were ever a member of the IRA. This is an issue that continues to dog your campaign in Louth, despite your denials and
family are entirely entitled, and I respect their right to raise that issue. There are many issues which could be raised arising out of the conflict. I am very sorry for what happened to their mother. I like to think that I played some part in bringing an end to the conflict and getting all of us on a better place. Now, you see, come Friday, people are going to have to make choices, Brian, and people are going to have to stand up and come out and vote. And I'm appealing to people on my record, on our party's record, on our plans for the future to come out and vote for Sinn Féin.
Mr. Adams, thanks for talking to us on 6 Months.
Thanks, Brian.